Are you having a bad day? Well, it could be worse. You could have lost your entire country to the sons of the Quaker Oats guy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of the Walking Purchase. So this is Pennsylvania. It's an American state with New York to its north, Ohio to its east, and the Third World to its south. It was land given over from the King of England at the time, Charles II, to William Penn, because Charles II owed money to his father, William Penn. So William Penn, the son, not the father, was, in proper historical terminology, a total Chad. He did a lot of stuff that I can't really cover in this video, but you just have to take my word for it. What you do have to know is that he was very friendly and respectful to the Native Americans living there. The Delaware. Or the Lenape, but Delaware is easier for me to say. And besides, when they eventually get cheated later on, I get to imagine it's these Delawareans. Well, anyway, a couple of signed treaties, land purchases, and planned TV show settings later, Billy eventually kicked the bucket, and control of his lands was left to his two sons, John and Tom Penn. Now these two were not Chads, not even close. They completely renounced their father's Quaker beliefs and set out to undo everything he had achieved. Obviously, as you would expect, they weren't going to treat the Delaware with the same degree of respect as their father did. So, in the 1730s, when Pennsylvania was faced with a mass immigration crisis and the two brothers were too deep in debt to deal with it, they were going to need new land. And luckily, they knew where to get some. They met with a variety of Delaware leaders and told them of a treaty they signed with their father back in 1686 promising to sell the Pennsylvanians land. How much land? Well, starting from the Delaware River, a man would walk westward for a day and a half, and wherever he ended up by the time the day and a half was over would be the land the Delaware would have to sell to the Pennsylvanians. This treaty was never signed, and possibly wasn't even made at all, so to help them enforce it, the Penn brothers went to the Confederacy for help. No, the Iroquois Confederacy. The Iroquois Confederacy was a rather massive and expansionist Indian nation around the Great Lakes, and some time ago they had claimed hegemony over the Delaware. So when the Pennsylvanians came up to them and said, "Hey, we're going to buy some of your land, is that alright?" The Iroquois said, "Yes, our land." So, like a Disney Channel star trying to get their own TV show, the Delaware were told to suck it and sign. The Delaware were hoping the Pennsylvanians would cover only a short distance, maybe about 40 miles, but the Pennsylvanians were planning on getting much more. Firstly, they had convinced 3 men 10 months prior to train themselves before the run and survey the land. Secondly, they cut through much of the brush and forest to make paths for the runners. Finally, they got a bunch of settlers and convinced them to ferry the runners across any rivers they may find. So when the day finally came, the 3 runners got together with 3 Indians who agreed to survey the walk. Hi, are you ready to walk? Yes. Walk. Oh fuck. The Delaware had anticipated the walkers to go at most 40 miles, but by the time the day and a half was up, the last remaining runner had traveled almost twice that distance, which took almost the entirety of the Delaware's land. It doesn't end there though. Remember how the borders to the purchase were supposed to look like this? Well, after the walk was completed, the Penn brothers argued that the walk didn't mark off the northern border, but rather the height of a triangle of which 2 diagonal— Okay, how the fuck do I describe this? Look, this was the land the Delaware were expecting to give away, and this is the land the Pennsylvanians actually got. This essentially doubled the amount of land they would have gotten from the walk. After losing all their eastern land, the Delaware had to relocate to Wyoming. No, not that Wyoming, the county of Wyoming. What is it with this video and confusing names? Well, anyway, needless to say, the walking purchase did not improve relations between the colonists and the Delaware, basically turning them from friends into bitter enemies. During the French and Indian War, or the 7 Years' War if you're one of these losers, the Delaware sided with the French, citing the walking purchase as a driving reason. In turn, the walking purchase and its negative effects were used as evidence against the Penn brothers when a political group led by Ben Franklin was petitioning the king to have them removed from power. Ben Franklin was, of course, also busy being Pennsylvania's next Chad. In case you didn't know, Pennsylvania has it written in law that every generation there needs to be exactly 1 Chad. Currently, it's Randall Monroe. Anyway, it doesn't end there. In 2004, the Delaware Nation, which is now located in Oklahoma, took the issue to court. Interestingly, the court did decide that the purchase was indeed fraudulent, but it fell out of their jurisdiction because the United States wouldn't exist for another 40 years. So the moral of the story is, be wary when making deals with the sons of well-known Quakers, or else you'll lose your entire country to a bunch of cross-country runners? I don't know who'd that be relevant to, but, I mean, it's happened before.